What is going on, you lovely ladies and gentlemen of the world? We churning out the Nate Talks, rolling out the red carpet now that we're all stuck inside, not allowed to do anything. I got plenty of time to myself. So, let's talk about Guilty Gear Strive. Now, the reasoning for this is that they recently announced rollback netcode. A few other things, Milia, Zato, cool, thumbs up. I'm sure pretty much I'm personally... Just to go on a bit of a tangent, I'm kind of assuming everybody but the Exard specific characters that were originally in Sign are going to be in Strive. I think we can all agree on all the classic characters that were present in the very first edition of Exard are going to be present in this game. Right? Safe assumption. Cool. Moving on. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk specifically about the announcement of rollback netcode. Now, before I get to my point, I just want to say, if you are a person that is excited for Strive, you've been seeing the footage, you've been seeing the characters, you're liking how the game's looking, you're hyped for it, and the addition of rollback netcode just amplified that hype even further, like, oh shit, this game might actually be playable online, unlike many other fighting games currently out and about right now. This is going to be awesome, fantastic, good for you. This video is not for you. Go on about your day, and hopefully it is enjoyable. And now I want to talk to this subset of the community. Now, I do want to say this is not... first let me set the stage. So, I became aware of this subset of the community after Anime Illuminati posted a video. It was Majin Obama, I assume, streaming. And a clip of that stream was posted about him basically talking about the rollback netcode. Now, it's not a long video. I will link to it in the description box if you want to check it out yourself. It's like 5 minutes long. I can't remember everything he specifically said, and I am too lazy to go rewatch it, but I do agree with what I heard from that video, which was essentially, if I can recall correctly, him basically saying the addition of rollback netcode is a pretty big step forward for Japanese developers specifically, because Japanese developers are inherently they're traditionalists. They're scared to make big changes and rollback netcode rather than just using the same garbage delay-based netcode, which is perfect for Japan, for, the smaller region and for the better internet infrastructure, has been perfectly fine this entire time. But once you get outside of Japan, once you get outside of those small, tightly knit regions, suddenly delay-based netcode just doesn't cut it, which is why there has been such a push for rollback netcode now. And so him, he's basically saying that, like, this addition of rollback netcode to Strive is bigger than just Guilty Gear. It's bigger than just Arc System Works. This is going to be something that is going to be a huge step forward for fighting games in the future. And I agree with that. I agree with everything that he said. My criticism that's going to be coming up soon has nothing to do with that specific video or what he said. Instead, it is from the comments underneath, and that led me to doing a little bit more research. Not a lot, but me basically going to Reddit threads talking about the rollback netcode, looking on Twitter, stuff like that. And an omnipresent mentality that I found in all of those, which was not like the most common. Let me just, again, I want to stress this. This is not like some overwhelmingly supported mentality that I am seeing, but it is there. It's in every single discussion. But it's not, like this huge movement, but it's still there. And just the fact that it's there at all is tilting me. It's this, I've seen these comments that are basically along the lines of, even if you don't like the direction Guilty Gear is going, even if you don't like the gameplay for this game, we as a community have a responsibility to purchase this game to support rollback netcode and to ensure that it continues to be implemented in future games. Because if Guilty Gear Strive fails, then developers are going to look at that and be like, well, guess they don't care that much about rollback netcode after all, so they're just not going to include it. Number one, that is just stupid as all hell on the basis that no company is going to spend this much time working on netcode, working on an improved version of netcode, and then just throw it away and never use it again just because one game flops. Like, that is just prime idiocy. But that mentality in and of itself, essentially shifting the blame to the consumers, saying, if X doesn't happen, it's your fault. It's not the developer's fault for not making a game that the community wants to support in the first place. It's not the developer's fault for misinterpreting why the game failed and saying like, oh, well, the rollback netcode was one of the bright spots of this game and it's a big beacon of positivity surrounding discussion of it, so we should hold on to that and look to make changes elsewhere. No, it is your fault, the consumer's fault, for not supporting this game that you don't want to play in the first place. Because we have to, because of rollback. Like, just... oh, seeing that makes me just want to cock my arm back as far as physically possible and swing with the utmost strength I have at my disposal to just smack these dumbasses into the next dimension so they stop infecting this dimension with their stupidity. It would be really nice if I was physically capable of doing that. Obviously, I'm not. I don't think anybody's physically capable of doing that, but it'd be great. I've seen this mentality before, and I have bitched about it before. For those of you that have been present for a long time, you may remember me saying very similar things about people. People have mentioned this in other communities, namely, in my memory, the Fire Emblem community and the Tales of community, where both of those games had very, very divisive entries in their series. And sales started to flag because of it. And I saw that happen. I saw, witnessed it firsthand. I was one of the people that stopped buying the games because I just wasn't enjoying them. And then I saw discussion along the lines of, it's going to be your guys' fault when this game stops being localized because it's not selling. It's going to be your fault. Trying to lay the blame at the feet of people who just don't want to buy a game they're not going to enjoy. Utter bullshit. Like, it's so irritating. Not to mention, we have had every opportunity if rollback netcode is that fucking important, we have had every opportunity in the world to support the games that have it. Killer Instinct, since it came out in, I believe, 2013 was its release date, has had pristine online. Arguably the best online experience that I have heard. This is all secondhand. I have never played Killer Instinct myself. But from what I have heard from members of the community who have played it, and just, people who just tried it out because it was free to play, amazing online. The best online experience that was available. Other fighting games, Skullgirls had rollback. In that game, for some reason, receives a lot of derision. Don't really understand why. But that's another game that people could have been hopping on and popping off on and just showing, like, look. And so, developers will look at that. They will see that. If everybody is just playing Killer Instinct or Skullgirls, or like, there's just what appears to be a fairly abnormal amount of lasting attention on a game, people are going to sit up and be like, okay, why is this game receiving so much support? Why is it retaining so much of its fan base? Why are so many people still playing it after so much time? And if the answer is universally, at least the game's playable online, unlike your trash, then developers are going to look at that and they'll be like, well, shit, we want a piece of that. Okay, time to implement rollback netcode. Y'all haven't done that. Street Fighter V, we knew it had rollback netcode going in. We didn't know it was going to be garbage, but we knew it was going to have it. So where was the support for that back when Street Fighter V was putting it into their game? Instead, Street Fighter V received the most flack I have ever seen a fighting game receive in my life, period. To be fair, much of it deserved. But still, this discussion never happened when Street Fighter V was coming out. Nobody was like, well, shit, it's a Japanese company putting rollback netcode into a fighting game. We need to support this so that we see rollback netcode in all fighting games in the future. This has to be a priority for us. That discussion never happened. Not a single time. But now when it's around this game it happens, y'all are biased as fuck and it's showing. And it's completely unfair to try and essentially emotionally blackmail people to say like, well, if we don't get rollback netcode anymore, it's going to be your fault. No, it's not. It never will be. And you're an asshole for suggesting that. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you for listening. Please help me in backhanding any idiot that is perpetuating that. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Peace. I'm out.